Right now I want to talk about how the different systems of the body are interconnected and how important it is to reduce stress in your life and how to approach stress. So in the last few days, and especially today for some reason, particularly today, I've had a lot of symptoms that I know are induced by stress. I feel today like I just can't think straight. Every now and then I'll have this, just a period of restlessness, like I want to move. And this is not only from just working at home and sitting still all day, but also the feeling that something's wrong and I need to move to do something about it. Or get my mind off of something, because your mind is holding still. When your mind is holding still, it really drives you insane after a while. So in addition to that, today I have, well, I'll mention lately I've been having itchiness all over my body. It will come on suddenly and will last maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes. I just feel really, really itchy, and I will, it lasts for a few minutes, and I don't know, it's more than usual. Okay, so itchiness. Right now, I can just tell by the way I'm talking, I feel a little bit confused, like I'm really not all here, like I can't process information about what I should do. I know this is induced by stress. As far as my digestive problems, I know those are connected with stress. I don't know if I should go ahead and mention it now, but I have a problem with digestion and bleeding somewhere that I shouldn't be bleeding. So this is, and first of all, I couldn't find the cause of that, first of all. And I also couldn't find the cure. It's taken me years. By the time I was in my 20s, I had had 2 colonoscopies already. The issue is, well, it's called proctitis. It's where you have a polyps. It's bleeding a little bit. Thankfully, it's not bleeding very much. It's not serious. But I have noticed that is an indicator when I'm bleeding, really, of how much stress I have. And it has really shown me how interconnected the body's different systems are. So if I am doing the healthy things for my body, like eating well and trying to live a stress-free life, getting plenty of rest, this naturally brings down my bleeding down there. Anyway, moving on with the symptoms. I've had lots of headaches lately. I'm not a person who usually gets headaches, but I've had a lot of them lately. By the way, this is not on the audio recording I'm listening to right now, but I have a headache today too, actually. I don't know why, but this is becoming a little bit more often. Maybe I'm just getting older, or maybe there's a deeper cause. So the headaches make me feel, yeah, just not all here when I do get them. And then the most interesting symptom for sure is what's going on with what you might call the third eye. So lately I've been noticing a Oh wait, no, I need to mention something else first. When I was going to sleep last night, I've had this sensation maybe just a handful of times before, but it's pretty rare. I had the odd sensation that my hands were much bigger than they were. Like that my hands were the size, my hand was the size of my head. This is not when I was asleep. This is as I'm falling asleep, lying there awake. It's a physical sensation, and the feedback I'm getting from my physical sensations were telling me that my hands were gigantic, the size of my head, and also my tongue. My tongue felt like it would not even fit in my mouth. It's kind of like when you close your eyes and you don't understand where exactly everything is, because we're so used to having our eyes open all the time and saying, hey, that's there, and this is the difference between me and that object. And if I reach out, this is about the amount of time it will take for my hand to reach this object. And so we have this coordinate system that we think about all the time. But when you close your eyes and you reach out for something that's in front of you, maybe you even walk to see how long it will take you to reach that object, you don't know, you don't have as good of an idea of where that object is. And you can rely on your hearing maybe, and other senses for that information, or just remembering what it looked like before you closed your eyes. But that's kind of what I got here, and it was a weird sensation of having my hands and my tongue just the size of clubs. It was really weird, but I've had it a couple of times before. And now I'm noticing that it's happening in connection with the stress-induced symptoms, and also with the third eye symptoms. Now I need to talk about that, because this is something, I don't know what this is. I mean, so when I meditate sometimes, I'll mention this. I can feel this kind of, it's almost like a tingling sensation, where it's in between my eyebrows. And I noticed that before I even knew about the chakras and where they were located. I just felt this kind of tingling. I'm trying to remember, because it's been a couple of months since I actually felt it during meditation. Lately I have had where I've had more tingling sensations. I had the same, I had this sensation last night a little bit, the tingling feeling, right here where your third eye is. I had them at the same time since these other sensations where my hands were too big. I don't know what's going on there. That's something I need to do some more research on. And if anybody else has felt that particular sensation, that's something I'd like to learn a lot about. So between the eyebrows is traditionally where the so-called third eye chakra is located. And this is, I don't know, I just seem to be particularly attuned to this part of my, you might call it the spiritual body, because that's where the chakras are. There are locations on the immaterial body that correspond to locations on the physical body. So I think that this is, I guess it's the one I'm most attuned to, because I've never really had sensations on any of the other chakra points like this one. But this one is there for sure, the third eye. I should also mention that years ago I noticed that if you put your finger right in front of the bridge of your nose, or between your eyebrows, technically it's just above the bridge of your nose, you can almost feel something there. Before, if somebody puts their finger there, you can feel it before the finger touches your face. And it's not a physical sensation. Well, it feels like an impression. And this is what it feels like. It feels like pressure. It feels like, I don't know, it feels like, pressure is the best way I can describe it. There's definitely something there. And that's something I really kind of thought I was nuts about. I thought at first it was my imagination because I'm a pretty rationally minded guy, and I was thinking, like, I'm imagining this, you know? I would test myself, put my own finger there, but of course I've got that information already about where my finger is, even if my eyes are closed. But when I have somebody else do it, I can usually tell if they wait for a couple of seconds, I can actually tell when their finger is there before they actually touch my the bridge between my eyes. I know it sounds weird for people who don't believe in this kind of stuff, myself included in the past. If you're just explaining this as a story to me, I would probably tell you, no, you can't. Maybe you're relying on one of your senses, your other senses, physical senses, but there's something there. It's unlike any other sensation, it's a specific kind of pressure that I feel between my eyes. I don't know. Of course, I want to know what this means. There's also the tingling I've been feeling lately, and I know on the opposite end of things, yeah, if I talk to someone from, who believes in New Age kind of beliefs, I'm sure they would run away with it and tell me that I'm going to my next level of consciousness or something. Maybe it's true. I don't know. I don't know what this means. But I do know that it's not something I felt as often as I have before. The tingling sensation is happening quite often. I'm actually trying it right now in the recording. Just for a moment there. It just feels like a pressure point. Like I'm being pressed upon. But I'm not actually feeling the touch sensation that you get when somebody touches your skin and your nerves send that feedback. It's not the same thing at all. It's nuts, but it's there, so it's got to mean something. I feel like in my spiritual life in general, I'm taking baby steps. I have taken some steps to improve myself in the past couple of years, and in the past few months in particular. I've tried to keep a meditation practice. I've tried to read more articles about these kind of topics where you're talking about consciousness, the nature of consciousness, the nature of spirituality. This has always been a fascinating subject to me. And lately I've been reading a lot about this kind of thing. So maybe this is what's triggered this third eye sensation. But I really want to know what it means because I never really believed in any of this. Again, the way I approach these so-called New Age topics, it's just a little bit ambivalent or ambiguous, maybe. I appreciate the open-mindedness of these people who believe these things. I really do, because you don't get that in strict religious circles. But at the same time, I understand that rationalism, of course, has its place here. I don't know, I myself am a balance between intuition and rationalism. And maybe I'm not balanced. Maybe I'm aware of both of those, but I don't have quite the right balance. But those two impulses do have their place in my life. Both of them do. So when it comes to New Age topics, I try to be as open-minded as I can. Let's back up there. I don't just jump in. Like when you talk about like the subjects which are very esoteric, like Reiki and chakra healing, dealing with different crystals and all. Some people are out there, and they'll believe anything they're told. At the same time, I appreciate people like this because they're at least open-minded. I want to keep a balance of both, but I would almost rather err on the side of open-mindedness than being closed-minded and shutting myself off to other ideas, which is the way that I was raised. But it's such a fun line to walk. Again, if you don't stand for anything and you're too open-minded, I mean, people have beliefs, but I guess this is a slightly different topic than closed-minded versus open-minded, but you have to stand for something as well. Belief versus just agnosticism, and not just toward religion. I'm talking about whatever situation you may find yourself in, where you have to commit to a certain belief. This can include believing in yourself and your ability to navigate life's situations that it throws at you. But anyway, so yeah, all this to say really that the body is really interconnected. We have amazing bodies as humans, but we also need to recognize that there is a spiritual side to that, an unseen side that is present. Obviously, like this actually goes without saying. Like, what could you say of the personality? Where the personality is not determined just by the physical bodies. So, of course, you have a spiritual body, or you might have. There's a lot of terms out there. There's of course the mind and the soul, and different terms here. It may mean slightly different things, but I'm talking about what is unseen and may belong to a certain person, but is beyond the physical body. And this is all interconnected. Another thing you learn when you do some research on consciousness is how interconnected everything is, everything in the universe. Eventually, you may learn that you're the creator of your own consciousness, which includes this universe, includes other people, literally, like being a creator of this universe. It's a lot to take in, but when you learn about the interconnectedness of all things, how even the physical matter and antimatter, and you keep going down the building blocks from atoms to electrons and neurons, farther down to quarks, and now of course we've got quanta and doing quantum mechanics. And I don't claim to be even halfway knowledgeable of these things, but I do know that there's a connection, however faint, between all things. And it seems to me that it would make sense, at least. Again, don't take my word for this, go do some research, but it would make sense to me if all things were connected. Living things and so-called inanimate things. There are lots of cultures that believe that inanimate objects still have souls, spiritual matter, some kind of spiritual matter, some life force maybe, and at the very least should be respected. So this has always been important for the way that I approach these things. So anyway, I just want to wrap up and say that, yeah, I'm supposed to be talking about stress here. It's important to live free of stress because stress connects to your other long-term health problems and short-term as well. And it's very important to take time for yourself. Do some self-help, self-healing. Just pay attention, most of all, to your symptoms and to your intuition about what is right for you in your situation. That will help you to be your best self, to stay healthy, and to understand that you're really what you call you is not just the physical body. It's not just the spiritual body. It's an integrated system of connected parts, for lack of a better term. So take care of yourself. Take care of all your different parts, the parts of your physical and spiritual lives. Really listen and know what is the best for you, and your life will improve, because I have seen an improvement. It's small steps, and I've had new challenges come up even as I am making an effort in my own life, but I'm also seeing improvements. And I understand that when I really take the time to understand myself, my true nature, and to be my best self, to improve myself as much as I can, this is what's best for me overall. It's actually best for other people too, even though they may not indicate this. It's best for everybody. Just listen. My advice to you, whoever you may be out there, is to listen to yourself. Take action and become your best possible self.